Now I took a piece of that sheeting of that what is it, that R15, that, like the foam, if you live in the pool, it takes stuff.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about.
You usually put it under your siding.
Yeah.
He took it, and what he did is he just spray painted it all black, and cut a slit at the top, and a slit at the bottom, and then he put it in his window. It was facing the south side, and it just heated that up, and then the air just naturally just kind of...
Yeah, through the window.
Yeah, because the cool air was...
It just pulls cold air in through the bottom, and then the hot air come out, would rise and go out through the top.
That's a neat idea.
Kind of suck it in.
My problem is I really don't have many south-facing windows.
No, I've always wanted to do
There's a
that.
bank here,
It's just taking
and
this
all my
full
south
black.
sides basically got a bank area.
Well, that's where the
Throw 'em inside of-
Well, I like the terracotta idea. I'm definitely
Curtains, you know, and turn them. Silver side out in the summertime, black side out
Yeah.
in the wintertime.
Because the silver
Could you put
reflects.
them on the, blackout curtains?
Yeah, kind of like
Sew
blackout curtains, but
them to the inside of the, so your silver side would be out.
No, I'm going to put it over here so
That's
you
in
can see
the
better. See
Right.
better.
So in the summertime, you could put the silver side out,
It would reflect.
which would reflect. And from the inside of the room, you would see the blackout curtain.
well, your curtains would be over the top.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Now, here's where I am in that house. Like, you think I could get away with it?
Now, here's what I got to wonder.
Okay. 42.
Back in...
Yes!
I'm trying to understand. What was it on? What show?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes, 42. That's always the answer when somebody says I have a question.
Everything. 42?
I just watched that maybe 2 weeks ago. Before man had power, how the hell did they stay warm enough to survive? I mean, other than a group pile, you know, in a cave or wherever they were.
Other than animal hides and... But too, another thing you got to think back then, there was a lot of spots that was bubbling, you know, like what they called the hot springs. There was a lot more of those, and a lot of them lived around that.
And a lot of those probably ancient cold streams, that's why you see a lot of caves.
Yeah.
Well, cave only gets as cold as the ground, like 55 degrees. So if you have a couple animals help, you're fine at 55 degrees.
And
Right.
you have as many population.
Well, and
probably stay
one
towards...
probably had a hell of a lot more hair on them, too.
Yeah.
And they were probably migrated, like as she said.
Yeah,
You know, you follow
but
just
I mean,
the temperature.
If
When
you've ever spent a night in the desert, I'm telling you, it would be the coldest night you've ever spent.
Anytime,
nothing to hold heat in.
anytime you lose 20 degrees, I don't care if it's 150 degrees.
We would go from 117 degrees over in Saudi Arabia. It was 117 degrees in the shade, and in the morning there would be ice crystals in your water bottle, so the temperature variance was over 70 degrees.
Yeah, the freeze.
And your core temperature cannot adjust to that because you're cooling. The sun goes down, and within a couple hours, you're just sitting here. It's like 60 degrees, and you're sitting here just shaking because your body can't stay warm.
Don't know what the hell's going on.
And it was terrible. I hated the desert. I mean, it's the beauty in and of its own. But as far as
But yet there's people who live there, but they don't have that. The natives don't
and
have
you wonder why they wear, like, you always say, why do they wear all those clothes and stuff? That's exactly why. One, it keeps the heat off of them, the heat off them most times, but it also absorbs it so that at night, you know, it keeps
you don't lose
But
your
then they
moisture.
talk about people who are, we get cold. You know, for us it gets down into the around zero or in that area, and we're like, oh wow, it's cold. Well, there's people who live in Alaska.
Yeah,
There's
well,
people
that's
who
our
live-
nephew, DL, and he come back, it was like 20 degrees out, and he's running around in t-shirt.
Yeah, and
You're
he's
getting
sitting there
warm
going,
inside.
so some of it is, you know, my sister she moved from our area to Hawaii. So she was going to come back home. So she went to the Salvation Army and bought herself some warmer clothes. So she's walking out in her little light sweatshirt. She's walking across the parking lot. And she's like, yay, I've got some winter clothes now. And then she stops and goes, no, wait a minute. I'm wearing this in Hawaii. Is it really going to keep me warm in northeastern Pennsylvania? Probably not.
I can tell you this, the most shocking realization of the difference of how your body adjusts. When we flew back and landed to the Andrews Air Force Base, it was a commercial flight. It was like United or whatever. It wasn't a military flight. When they opened the doors on that plane, everybody had to sit down and just breathe because the humidity in the air, even though it wasn't that high, over there's no humidity. And that 20-30% humidity, it almost like was choking you. It was like you had to take a bite out of that air to get a breath of it because you had been in zero humidity for a year. And I mean, because there is none. As soon as a bead of sweat comes to the top of your skin, it's gone over there. I would actually have T-shirts that I could stand up because of the dried salt in them. That they would almost think they would crack because, like I said, because you wouldn't even notice they would be getting wet because the sweat dried up and as soon as moisture hits the. But what's funny is, it was the wettest winter they had over there in like 100 years. When it rains over there, it's like 2 feet of water on the ground and it ain't going nowhere because the ground is baked so hard. It takes like a day to soften up and let the water go down. So if you get several inches of rain, it's like flash floods everywhere. We had some dudes buried up to the windshield in rain in the middle of the desert, you know.
I was in Panama. In Panama for a month, and then they took our unit Springfield out.
Oh, gee, thanks.
Yeah, it was your training, you know. You're deployable all over the world. 16 hours to make a year in one day, and you're amazing. And you got to deal with it. Big time.
Well, like
humidity
is. I mean, it actually said it hit. I think I ate 14 Snicker bars on that flight back. We had they just laid down like boxes of candy. I just grabbed like a whole box of Snicker bars and sat there the whole way back to the United States.
But that, I guess, is.
I think this thing will go for a while.
I think when I burned, I think it was around 2 hours. It was 2 hours when I did.
Did it go out then, or did it?
Yeah, it'll burn out, yeah.
And you could reuse
You'll start,
it.
like I said, you start seeing it. Then make sure planes out and then re-add alcohol. And
add more alcohol to it, put the lid back on it.
Yeah.
Then after, if it burns the roll of toilet paper after 20 uses, then I guess that got more than if it would have been there.
Right.
Roll of toilet paper.
Yeah. Just dump it out of the can and put a new roll in.
I mean, I didn't think that would even set like a Snicker
Well,
on anything else.
And the thing that I'm thinking, if you know how to make them, if you've opened up a can of soup because you're warming up your soup to eat because you don't have any power and you're warming up soup on a camping stove, you've got rubbing alcohol in your supplies anyway because who doesn't have rubbing alcohol sitting in their first aid supplies? And you got TP up at the top of the house. Then you can throw one of these together in an emergency situation.
Yeah, that takes minutes to make.
Well, what I was also thinking too, in a first aid application, you had that in your car.
You sterilize everything.
Yeah, you could, if you had to, rip a piece of toilet paper out to go over a laceration, to clean out a wound or something.
It's got alcohol in it.
Yeah.
It's an alcohol patch.
You can pour it over, anything to like you said, sterilize something if you had to use it to take a...
Pick somebody else.
Yeah.
If you've got a cut, I don't know if you've ever, because of course you guys paint your nails on a regular basis.
Yeah, we do.
There are nail polish removers that are basically a sponge in a little cup, and you stick your finger in the sponge and wheel it around, and that takes your nail polish off. Well, you could do the same thing if you had a cut or something on a finger. You could just kind of sit in there and wiggle it around a little bit, and now you've swabbed it, and you haven't even messed with your either.
I was thinking too, Todd, just get a little more extravaganza. You could actually build a fan that could go around here, make it so you can set something on the cup. You hold it up above the fire.
They put like 4 of them together. And that,
anything that was set and hold this pot up high enough that the flames on it.
Yeah.
Warm your water.
A couple of bricks next to it.
Because
cook
again,
me a hot dog.
If you want the big ones, you can go ahead and do that.
if you could almost make it some way self-contained, again, if you're in a blizzard situation where you're stuck in your car, you could actually melt snow while you're heating as well.
your metal canteen or whatever you have
Well, a
above
lot
it.
of these guys, you could probably just put them in the car with you and it would melt pretty good.
Yeah.
Guys that climb the Himalayas and stuff, they keep water almost constantly going in your tent because
And I've heard that too, like if you're going to hike and you need snow for water, go ahead and pack it in and then put it in on your core. That way as you're moving, it's melting the snow because your body's radiating out.
The movie Dune.
Yeah, Dune with Sting in it.
Remember the survival suits that they had,
Yeah.
which is really neat. Is they had like a wetsuit almost looking thing that recycled like all the perspiration, the sodas built into the suit, and they just had a tube. They came off of the suit, and would just when they needed a drink of water, they just pull the tube out and drink it. And you know,
It's like the what they call
Camelback.
Yeah,
yeah.
camelback.
But like I said, this was actually using air perspiration.
And the thing you got to remember, if you're using snow for water, it takes a lot of snow to make some water.
Yeah.
You probably seen my video on YouTube. Hot chocolate. Yeah.
A lot of snow, and
That's
actually
why-
that's why one of the reasons they don't recommend that you eat snow is
Lowers
that
your core.
it lowers your core, and you actually burn more calories
Trying to
making
back
that
outside
snow in
well.
the water than what you're getting the benefit of.
That's why when they call for like 1 inch of rain, and then it ends up coming over
snow,
us. Yeah, that's a lot of snow because it's that, I guess, that air content in the snow. 'Cause, yeah, they call for 1 inch of rain.
But I never thought about using rain spout.
Oh, is it?
And
Air conditioning, like the air
that's a great idea.
hardly had any rain at all.
Oh, it's been 30
All
years.
together. I mean, you just got to put them all together
Yeah,
in
I
every
mean-
one. And then basically,
And you know,
it's just kind of like a snake. You just want the hot air or the room temperature. And a lot of people use
Probably do if I had like a
the duct for dryer
oh yeah, dryer
to run it in your house. And they'll put a return on the one side, which is pulling the air temperature out of your house, and then going through that heat exchanger, and then blows back out
You know,
of the house.
I'm gonna build one of them, put it on my dryer.
I honestly do the spring
Yeah, I never thought of him just take it off in the summertime and hook it back up in the wintertime. I hate to lose all that heat for that dryer.
Yeah, you could. If you just figure out put a lint trap on it before it goes all the way up and through there.
building there, and it used to be in a little
back
building.
and
It's
forth.
like a little spring
I just
and
You got a way to clean it out.
clean it out. I just get the end off of it.
if it wasn't.
Or if you put it where it first goes in, just build you a separate little box with a real fine screen where it catches all the lint before.
Yeah, before it goes into it.
And then you could put, if you created the way, just like you could pull the screen out.
Now Bachman, I'm thinking of that. Bachman's used to have one hooked into your bed dryer. Dad would actually put one in our basement. That it was a you pulled a lever and it would let the heat out into the basement. Blowing heat out from the window.
Yeah, I'm paying for that shit that's going out someplace else. Well, steam coming out of the neighbor's house, I want to tap into this.
You guys want to build this, or you want me to build it? I mean, I brought the materials to build it.
I'll build it.
They're
So
very.
Dan and Cliff are
Yeah,
put
let
it
'em put
together.
it together.
I've already built one.
You want to put that one together? I mean,
the camera over here.
What, you don't
Yeah,
want
I'd
to
like
alcohol while you got... Is it still cool on the bottom?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, then the top's going to get
Real
warm.
cool. Right about there, starting to get a little warm.
It's probably got to slow down.
Yeah, just throw her in there. It's all right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's cold.
Come on, put a light on here, Dan.
What kind is it, Charlie?
no. Is that Northern or Angel Soft or?
Angel Soft.
Okay, let's not sell any brands here.
Endorsement.
You have to help him there, Todd.
All right. So basically, what we want to do here is you got your can again. Like I said, the whole setup's probably
Less than $5.